right? Or frustrating situations. So we can the shift the blame to the past karma, then shift the blame to the body association, shift the blame to the mind, and all those are true. I'm not saying that, but I think I still see it's not like I feel this verse which I'm about to share with you all. I think this gives you the medicine. That's just telling you those are the problem areas, right? To stop. I mean, this is the one 10:31:9. This is the one that Srimati Radharani is in the Gopi's song of separation. This is the verse that she says, right? And this is the verse is the nectar of your words and the description of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. So I think that's why, like, when we suffer in this material world, we should try to invariably go towards the Lord's activities, Krishna Katha, in some way or the other. We should try to, because that's the medicine, I think. That's what she's saying. Like, the nectar of your words and the description of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations, transmitted by learned sages, eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations
See,
are broadcast all over the world
actually,
and are filled with spiritual power. Right. Go ahead.
all these examples, whether it is of Jad Bharat or whether it is of Avanti Brahman, see, they were mendicants. They eventually, they were without families. You see, but I think the we are not in that position. You see, the Grahastha, even Prabhupada or Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they could they once they gave up their families, then only they could talk, take such a high moral ground. I mean, I don't mean in that way, but they eventually became renounced. I think the best example to which we can relate is that of Kunti Mata. How she was totally into devotional service throughout her life, despite being a a grahastha. I mean, she was taking care of her five children throughout life. And you see, her prayers are very instructive. And I think that's very, very important. I believe,
So,
because all these examples which we come across, whether Avanti, they are all mendicants. They had given up their families. Somehow, they could afford to leave their families.
Well, we also have an example closer to now in the person of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He didn't.
Yes, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also eventually, when if you read his life story, last years he imprisoned himself in a small hut, and
Yeah, but for most of his life, even when he's active in his
yes,
work, he was
but
still.
yes, his life story is also very instructive for the. But I think he was supported those kind of wives or families. And even in his case also, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, because Bhakti
actually,
Siddhant Saraswati Thakur when he died, he was quite unhappy, and his other sons, apart from Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur, I think
so
because he
actually,
never has a great, this thing, samadhi. Hmm.
so that, like you were mentioning, right? So I pulled up that one, right? Kunti Mata's prayer, right? And you
Hmm.
see, this is the one that she says, I wish that
Ah,
all those calamities would happen again and again so
hmm.
that we
Hmm.
could see you again and again, you being Lord Krishna. For seeing you, Lord Krishna, means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. So she is actually seeing the calamities, the problems in life
Yes,
as a
she has.
way to remember Lord Krishna. She has almost like seeing that as a like as soon as you have problem, you should try to, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity to remember Krishna.
It is.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes,
But
yes,
also,
yes.
again, it's a nice aspiration, definitely, but it's not that
Yeah.
is not a beginner level state of consciousness. That is, but you're absolutely right. That is the point of what we're doing is to stay fixed, right?
Yes.
You've probably heard it said that you can boil Krishna consciousness down to two rules. Always remember Krishna, and the converse is never forget Krishna. That's everything. And if you think about it, it as you get into this philosophy, you understand that God must be a person because you need something to meditate on. This is where the Mayavadis, this whole thing with
Oh,
becoming
there is absolutely
Brahmin.
no doubt. That
Well,
is
because you
definitely.
have Brahmin has no attributes. We sometimes you think of Brahmin, you think of a black space. Well, black is an attribute. You cannot
Mhm.
conceptualize something that is literally devoid of attributes. There's nothing to describe. It's all pervasive. That's it. That's its only.
Brahman.
So
Mm.
it doesn't have a color. It doesn't have a smell. It doesn't have a tusk or anything. But we're people who are attracted to persons, and we either choose to meditate on the supreme person or we meditate on people of this world. And there is going to be some of that meditating on people of this world until we are fully at that point. But we are making the conscious effort to continually drawing our consciousness back to these topics. And
Mm.
that's kind of where it is for us right now. We drift away, we pull ourselves back, and that act of wrestling with it is what tends to push us in the right direction over time.
Right. I totally agree. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Okay.
Hmm.
With that
Shall we
wonderful
start? Yeah.
introduction, yes, let's
Yeah.
start.
All right, I'm going to
Uh,
mute for a few minutes and I'll be
yeah,
back on shortly.
sure. Sure, Prabhu.
Great. Thank you
Uh,
so much for sharing your realizations. That was very wonderful.
sure.
Very well.
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैतानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद
Okay. So we are in Adi
टेक्स्ट
Khand
83.
part 2, chapter 14, which is, I just want to, the Lord's travel to East Bengal and the disappearance of Lakshmi Priya. So that's what's going on. And text 84. Yes, Dad, you can start.
84.
84.
कोना पापी गना छड़ी कृष्ण संकीर्तना अपानारे गयोया बलिया narayana. Translation: other sinful persons give up chanting the names of Krishna and claim to be Narayan. They then induce others to chant their glories. Commentary: when sinful persons become extremely offensive by posing as gurus concocted by their own self worship, they give up Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which is the source of all auspiciousness. They teach the society of fools who are ignorant of absolute truth to secure profit, adoration, and distinction so that they can fulfill their own material desires. These sinful persons advertise themselves as Narayan, that is the Supreme Lord or an incarnation of Supreme Lord, and Mahaprabhu along with his associates as well as Sri Mahamantra, who appears as Shabd Brahma in the form of syllables, who is the highest worshipable object for all animate and inanimate beings, and who was glorified by Mahaprabhu as being non different from Lord Krishna, they consider as ordinary mortal forms, desirous of material fame like themselves. Following this conception, they induce others to glorify their mundane names or sound vibrations related with their families, houses, and bodies, which are full of stool and wobs, and which ultimately turn to ashes. Although Guru Tattva is actually a manifestation of Krishna, if one considers the spiritual master as the supreme worshipable object, Radhika Nath, rather than considering him as a manifestation of the supreme worshipper, or if one considers him simply an artificial singer of folk songs which are contrary to the Maha Mantra given by spiritual master, and if one declares or induces others to glorify his material body to be the supreme lord in order to accumulate mundane fame, then such a cheating so-called guru and his cheated followers will both enter the hell under the burden of great sins.
Text 85. देखिते ची दिने तिना अवस्था याहारा कौन लज्जे अपनारे गायो या से चारा. Translation: How can an insignificant person who daily goes through three states shamelessly induce others to chant his glories? Purport: The teen avastha or three states of a person are gross, subtle, and causal: wakefulness, dream, and deep sleep, or past, present, and future. These states are prone to be agitated by material nature and time. We cannot understand how an impersonalist self worshipper establishes himself as the supreme worshipable object in the dress of a guru, because we can see that within a single day a healthy living entity falls sick, and from sickness he regains health, and after regaining health he again falls sick. Or according to others, the living entities conditioned by the three modes and under the control of nature become overwhelmed by three different influences, states, or designations of nature, like gross, subtle, and causal, or wakefulness, dream, and deep sleep. How can such extremely shameless living entities who are controlled by Maya and subjected to these three states declare themselves to be the supreme worshipable object and controller of Maya? For a living entity qualified for being forced to undergo three different states in one day to claim to be the supreme lord who controls Maya and is transcendental to the three modes of nature is simply ludicrous.
I think a lot of such things were going on in
Oh yeah.
time of
I
after matlab, in time of Mahaprabhu.
Yes, in time of Mahaprabhu and definitely in time of Srila
After
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur,
yes, yes,
Bhakti
yes.
Vinod
That is
Thakur,
why he has
and Srila
yeah.
Prabhupada. Yeah.
Text 86. राधेयारा ये कामाहा ब्रह्म दैत्या आचे अंतारे राक्षसा विप्रकाचा मंत्र काचे. Translation: There is a powerful Brahma Daitya in Radha Desh. Although he externally dresses like Brahmana, internally he is a demon. Commentary: The areas of western bank of Ganges are known as Rashtra Desh or Radha Desh. There are many villages within Radha Desh, but the names of those villages are not mentioned at this point. If Brahmana becomes a ghost after death, he becomes a Brahma Daitya. A Brahman who follows his prescribed duties generally advances to higher planets, but those who neglect their duties and engage in sinful activities and thus meet an unnatural death become Brahma Daityas. So called Brahmins who are envious, offensive, blasphemous of Vaishnavas, who, though breathing as lifeless, though breathing are lifeless, and who are situated in sinful lives, are known as Brahmadatyas. Real Brahmanas are totally partial and subordinate to Vaishnava principles. Since so called Brahmanas, who are envious of Vaishnavas, become ghosts in this very life, they are presently being addressed as Brahmadatyas. One such Brahmadatya from Radhadesh externally exhibited Brahminical behavior yet internally maintained envy towards the Vaishnavas, and as a result he became an envious demon. When a Brahmana engages in demoniac activities of envying Vaishnavas, then he is called Brahma Rakshasas. Although demons are expert in envying cows, demigods, and Vaishnavas, they become puffed up with these false ego due to their birth in seminal Brahmana families. The performance of Brahminical activities and acceptance of external Brahminical dress by persons who internally maintain demoniac propensities in this way is simply artificial duplicity that ruins people. Here he is very much telling about the current state of affairs of Brahmins who are masquerading as yeah, I think.
So actually, I just to remind, basically what's happening is at Navadvip, all these Brahmins they have come because East Bengal, actually Bengal, I think East Bengal, that's where the Lord decided to go to visit to give them mercy. Then all the Brahmins there they got immediately news of that Nimai Pandit, who has defeated Digvijay, has come. So they came to meet him and to learn from him. And the Brahmanas. So then the Brahmanas are complaining to the Lord, like sinful people are like this, they misdirect us. And so this is actually the Brahmanas, they are the ones telling
They are
that this is
telling,
the
yeah.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the state of things. And then they are trying to induce the Lord to please to give instructions.
I see. Yeah, yeah, I think the background. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the background.
Hmm.
Text 87. Se papishtha apanare bolaya gopala ataivata are sabe malena siala. Translation: that sinful person advertised himself as Gopal, and people therefore called him a jackal. Purport: the word Shial or Seal from the Sanskrit word Shrigal refers to those people of Bengal who are generally afraid, who are prone to run away, who are thieves, who are miscreants, or who speak harsh words. Although the sinful, hellish, Mayavadi Brahma Rakshasas of Radha Desh introduced himself as Gopal to everyone, the devotees, rather than calling him Gopal, called him a false logician, Mayavadi Jackal. Those who cultivate material knowledge take birth as jackals in their next lives. Within 100 years after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu, some foolish atheists rejected their gurus and advertised themselves as incarnations of the Supreme Lord. In this regard, Gaura Gana Chandrika, which is said to be written by Srimad Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, states as follows: seeing that others have accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Gauranga, as the Lord of the universe, some foolish people of Radha Desh, Bengal, who were devoid of spiritual knowledge, wandered about dressed as the Supreme Lord, attempting to convince other fools of their supremacy. Among those impostors was a Brahman named Vasudeva, who out of madness declared, "I am Gopal, the son of Nand Maharaj." That is why the people of Radha Desh called this Brahman a Shrigala or Jackal instead of Gopal. Another person named Vishnu Das said, "I am Lord Ramchandra, the son of the Raghu dynasty. I have descended from Vaikuntha along with the monkeys. Hanuman is my devotee." Due to such offensive statements, he was rejected by the people of Radha Desh and was addressed as the leader of the monkeys. In order to deliver the people of earth, I, Lord Narayan, have appeared from my abode of Vaikuntha. Boasting in this way and putting a crown on his head, an ill-motivated Brahman of Bengal named Madhav advertised himself as the Supreme Lord in order to get some cheap adoration. Hence, the people of Bengal address Madhav as a Chudadhari, or one who wears a crown. This Madhav was the very lusty priest of the Shudras. Therefore, he used to imitate the Rasa dance pastimes of the Sri Krishna. It is heard that this Brahman was rejected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Vaishnavas. Therefore, one should not associate with such persons. If one does so, his religiosity will be destroyed. Because it is stated in the scriptures, as a drop of oil spreads all over water, if one touches, converses with, is touched by the breath of, or eats with such a sinful person, then the very sins of that person will be spread to him. In the Bhakti Ratnakar 14.163 to 168, 180 to 183, it is stated, someone said, "O brothers, the materialists who have turned their faces from Lord Krishna are very independent and transgress religious principles. The leader of the materialists has taken the position of Raghunath in order to cheat people in general. This misbehaved sinner has invented his own philosophy and claiming to be the king of poets. He preaches in Bangladesh. Another person said, I saw some great sinners induce others to glorify them rather than glorify Lord Krishna. Another person said, there is a degraded Brahman known as Malika in Radha Desh. No one is as wicked as him. That great sinner calls himself Gopal. Speaking an illusory philosophy worthy of the Rakshasas, he tricks people in general. In Radha Desh, in the village named Kandhar, is the auspicious and glorious home of Gyan Das. A caius named Jai Gopal also lives in that place. That person became evil minded due to pride of learning. He arrogantly declared that his guru had no knowledge, and whenever someone inquired from him, he claimed that his Param Guru was his guru. Veerachandra Prabhu tactfully disclosed his position and then rejected him. In this regard, one should refer to the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 36, and the Vishnu Puran 5.34, wherein is described the Dwapar Yuga pastime of Krishna killing Pandaraka Vasudeva, the king of Karusha, who worshipped himself and imitated Krishna. One should also see the description of Shrigala Vasudev, the king of Karavirapura, found in the Hari Vamsha, chapter 99 to 100 or 2.44 to 45. Regarding the acceptance of Ahangrahopasana or self worship in the form of advertising oneself as the Supreme Lord Vishnu or an incarnation by the fullest atheists who are controlled by Maya, Srila Jiva Goswami has stated in his Bhakti Sandarbhs 276. In these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, the idea that the individual spirit soul is the worshipable supreme has been condemned with extreme revulsion. An example is seen when Pandaraka Vasudeva sent a servant to Krishna with the message, I am Lord Vasudeva. When the pure devotees Yadavas, headed by Ugrasen, heard the crazy words about the artificial attempts of Pandaraka Vasudeva from the mouth of the messenger, they laughed loudly. The reason for this is found in scriptural statements such as the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29.13, wherein the Lord explains, a pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation, salokya, sarishti, samipya, sarupya, or sayujya, devoid of my service, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mahabhagavad Shri Hanumanji also confirms this as follows. Only a fool will give up the service of the Lord and try instead to become the Lord himself. While glorifying the Nishkinchana devotees, the Supreme Lord has established that Nishkam Bhakti is the highest abhideya or sadhan in the following words from Srimad Bhagavatam 11:20-34. Because my devotees possess saintly behavior and deep intelligence, they completely dedicate themselves to me and do not desire anything besides me. Indeed, even if I offer them liberation from birth and death, they do not accept it. Those who accept insignificant fallen souls who are controlled by Maya as the Supreme Lord, who controls Maya, are extremely fallen. There is no comparison to their lamentable fallen condition. Sri Chaitanya Chandra is the Lord of the 14 worlds as well as Navadvip, Vraj, Golok, Vaikuntha, and Paravyom beyond the 14 worlds and is not different from Brajendra Nandan. And although the atheists see that he is being glorified and offered prayers as Swayam Roop, Avatari, Sakshat Bhagavan, and Parameshwar, he nevertheless falsely tries to compete with him by imitation. He being like those souls who are trying to imitate him. Thus, there is no limit to his misfortune. It is stated in the Sri Chaitanya Chandramrita 32. Condemned are the followers of Vedic ritual. Condemned are the practitioners of severe austerity. Condemned are the dull-witted fools whose mouths have blossomed with the words, I am Brahman. Why do we lament for these animals in the guise of men intoxicated by the taste of things other than Krishna? Alas, they have not tasted even a drop of the nectar of Lord Gora. The following purport also applies to this verse. Yeah. So it's like lot of people who are going about doing such nonsense.
Yes. Text 88. Shri Chaitanya Chandra Vine Anyere Ishvara Ye Adham Bale Sei Chara Socyatara. Translation. Anyone who accepts someone other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord is fallen, insignificant, and fit for living in hell. Commentary. Presently, a few persons from Mayavad Sampradaya have promoted an insignificant ordinary human being who is controlled by Maya and who is a servant of his senses as an incarnation of Krishna, an incarnation of Ram, an incarnation of Gaura, an incarnation of Gopal, an incarnation of Kalki, a joint incarnation of Nitai Gaura, a Jagat Guru, a Vishwaguru, a Yuga Avatar, and as Mahaprabhu. They have thus welcomed offenses, and as a result, the followers of such illogical so called incarnations, who are opposed to the descending process of knowledge or incarnations of Lord Vishnu, rather than attaining the position of Supreme Lord in their next life, will take birth as jackals. Those who cultivate material knowledge take birth as jackals in their next lives. One should also refer to Mahabharat Shanti Parv Moksha Dharma 180.4850.
Text 89 to 90. दुई बहुतूली ए बलि सत्य करी अनंत ब्रह्मांड नाथ गौरंग श्री हरि यन अर नाम स्मरणी समस्त बंध कषाय यन अर दास स्मरणे ओ सर्वत्र विजय. Translation. I therefore raise my two arms and boldly declare, Shri Gauranga is the Lord of innumerable universes. One is free from all bondage simply by remembering Him. Indeed, even by remembering His servants, one is always victorious. Purport. Realizing that Shri Krishna Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotees loudly broadcast his glories. The author who is attached to the truth loudly glorifies Sri Gaura Sundar as the Lord of innumerable universes. It is directly seen, realized, and applicable to all places, time, and persons that by offenselessly remembering the holy names of Sri Chaitanya, all material desires of the conditioned souls are diminished. In other words, the conditioned souls attain freedom from the conceptions of being entangled in other desires like material enjoyment and mental speculation. Moreover, if the pure, transcendental, spiritual characteristics of even Sri Chaitanya's servants appear in the mind of a conditioned soul, then he is liberated from his conditional state and can deliver the entire world. As stated in Chaitanya Chandramrita 6, when Lord Gaura Chandra's devotees, who are worshipped even by the demigods, drink the wonderfully sweet nectar of the bliss of pure love of God, that flows from the lotus flower of Lord Gaurachandra's feet, they become completely intoxicated. In that condition, they laugh at Lord Brahma and other demigods, condemn the impersonalist yogis, and do not consider the great devotees of Lord Vishnu who do not worship Lord Gaurachandra to be very important. Let us glorify that Lord Gaurachandra.
Text 91. सकल भुवने देखा यानरा यश गया विपाथा छाड़िया भजा हेना प्रभु रपाया. Translation. Giving up all evil ways, worship the feet of such a Lord whose glories are chanted throughout the entire world. Commentary. One should discuss the following two verses from Sri Chaitanya Chandramrita 90 and 85 in this regard. Dear gentlemen, you should renounce all your mentally concocted honesty and religious principles that are averse to the devotional service of Gaura Krishna and be attached to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya. Give up all your useless absorption in fruitive activities Don't allow a single word concerning self-worship enter your ears. Don't be illusioned by your temporary material body, house, country, and relatives. Then only you will attain the crest jewel of all human goals.
Hmm. Text 92. हेना माते श्री वैकुंठ नाथ गौरा चंद्र विद्या रसे करे प्रभु भंग देश भंगा. In this way, Sri Gaurachandra, the Lord of Vaikuntha, happily enjoyed his scholastic pastimes in East Bengal.
Text 93. Mahavidya Goshti Prabhu Kari Lena Bange Padmavati Dekhi Prabhu Buli Lena Range. Translation. The Lord attracted a large number of students in East Bengal and he would often wander on the banks of the Padmavati river.
Text 94 to 96. सहस्र सहस्र शिष्य होइला तथाई हेना नहीं जानी के पढ़ाए कौन ठानी सुनी सब भंग देशी ऐसे धैया निमाई पंडित स्थाने पढ़ी बाना गिया हेना कृपा दृष्टि प्रभु करे ना व्याख्याना दुई मासे सबई होइला विद्यावना. Translation. He had thousands and thousands of students there, so it is difficult to know who studied with whom. People from all over East Bengal came rushing to study under Nimai Pandit. The Lord taught them in such a merciful way that within 2 months everyone became learned. Purport. Nimai Pandit resided on the bank of the Padmavati River in East Bengal for 2 months and trained innumerable students to become expert scholars.
Text 97. Kata sata sata jana padavi labhiya ghare aya ara kata aise suniya. Translation. Hundreds of students received titles and returned home. And hearing about this, many new students joined. Commentary. During the time of the Lord, the teachers awarded titles to their own students. By these titles, scholars were recognized as authorities on a particular scripture. In other words, a person was identified as possessing knowledge of a particular scripture according to the title he received after completing his studies. Oh, I see.
It's such amazing thing, right? Like it's almost like
Mm.
you got a master's in computer science or master's in, like that type of in particular domain. That's how they were doing it back then. Text 98. Ei mate vidya rase vaikunthera pati vidya rase bhanga deshe karilena sthiti. In this translation, in this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha enjoyed scholastic pastimes while staying in East Bengal.
Text 99. एता नवद्वीपे लक्ष्मी प्रभुरा विराहे अंतरे दुखिता देवी करे नहीं कहे. Translation. Meanwhile, in Navdeep, Lakshmi was in great distress due to separation from the Lord. She did not reveal this to anyone. Commentary. When Nimai was engaged in his scholastic pastimes in East Bengal, Lakshmi Priya Devi in Navdeep became extremely grief stricken out of separation from her worshipable Lord. She did not, however, disclose her confidential internal distress to anyone. In her daily activities, it was seen that apart from serving the Lord's mother or her mother in law, she did not even take a morsel of Vishnu Prasad in order to maintain her body. She used to sit alone in solitary place and simply shed tears. She did not feel any happiness at heart. Ultimately, due to separation from Gaura Narayan, her beloved husband, who was more dear to her than life, Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi Priya Devi, the crest jewel of caste chaste woman, became so impatient that out of extreme anxiety she resolved to depart in order to serve her husband. She kept her replica body or shadow form on the banks of the Ganges in this world and disappeared from the eyes of people in her original form as Mahalakshmi. She attained samadhi while meditating on the lotus feet of her worshipable husband, Sri Gaura Narayan. Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi Priya Devi, the crest jewel of chaste woman, departed forever. My God.
Text 100. निरवधि करे देवी ऐरा सेवना प्रभु गिया छेना होते नहीं का भोजना. After the Lord's departure, she kept always engaged in the service of Mother Shachi without eating anything. I think Prabhuji, you want to read text 101.
Yeah, okay. Text 101. Name se anamatra parigraha kare Ishvara vachede bada duketa antare. She accepted some rice only in name, for she was deeply distressed in separation from the Lord.
Text 102. Ekeshwara Sarvaratri Karena Krandana Chitte Swasthya Lakshmi na Payana Kona Shana. Translation. She passed the nights alone, crying incessantly. Her heart, her heart found no relief for even a moment.
Text 103. ईश्वरा विच्छेदा लक्ष्मी ना परे साहिते इच्छा करी लेना प्रभुरा समीपे योइते. Eventually, Lakshmi could no longer tolerate separation from the Lord and she desired to go join him.
Text 104. Nija pratikriti deha tui pritivite shalilena prabhu pase ati alakshite. Lakshmi left a replica body on the bank of the Ganges in this world and went invisibly to the side of the Lord. Purport. In the Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi 16.20 to 21, it is stated, because the Lord was engaged in various ways in preaching work in East Bengal, his wife Lakshmi Devi was very unhappy at home in separation from her husband. The snake of separation bit Lakshmi Devi, and its poison caused her death. Thus she passed to the next world. She went back home, back to Godhead. The replica body and disappearance of Lakshmi Devi are explained as follows. Sri Lakshmi Priya Devi is the internal spiritual potency of Gaura Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahalakshmi is described in the Gauraganadesha Deepika 45 as follows. She who previously appeared as Sri Janaki, Rukmini, and Lakshmi has now appeared as Lakshmi in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Sanskrit book Caitanya Charitamrita Mahakavya 3.7 and 13, it is stated, this Lakshmi of Navadvip is the incarnation of that Lakshmi of Vaikuntha, and Lakshmi has personally incarnated in this world. While describing Mahalakshmi, Krishna's queens and the gopis of Raj, Sri Jiva Prabhupada has stated in his Sri Krishna Sandarbha, in the second Bhagvat Sandarbha, it has been established that the Lord is the supreme absolute truth and that he has two energies. Of the two, the first is related to the Lord as his internal potency and as worshipful to the Vaishnavas as the Lord himself. The Supreme Lord's supreme position is due to this Swarup Shakti. The second, Maya, is fit, like the material world, to be neglected by the Vaishnavas. She is the transformation of the Lord's energy. The manifestation of the world is due to this Bahiranga Maya Shakti, or the illusory external energy. Of these two potencies, the word Lakshmi is used to indicate the forma, the Swarup Shakti, just as the word Bhagavat is used to indicate the person who possesses these two energies. This is also clearly shown in the Bhagvat Sandarbha. In the two cities, Mathura and Dwarka, this Swarup Shakti is known as Sri Mahishi, the Queen of Krishna, the Queens of Krishna. Since it is clearly stated in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad that in the Lord's unmanifest pastime, Sri Rukmini eternally resides in Mathura, all other queens must also reside there. It is also stated therein that the queens of Krishna are also related to him as belonging to the category of his Swarup Shakti. Therefore, in their position as Swarup Shakti, they are necessarily of the same position as Lakshmi. In this way, the queens of Krishna are naturally confirmed as belonging to the Lord's Swarup Shakti. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1060.9, it is stated, the Lord assumes various forms to enact his pastimes, and he was pleased that the form that the goddess of fortune Rukmini had assumed was just suitable for her to serve as his consort. The meaning of this verse is very clear. Therefore, since Rukmini assumed a form suitable to serve the Lord, she is certainly on the level of Lakshmi. And since Lakshmi, who was famous as the goddess of Vaikuntha, is merged within Rukmini, Mahalakshmi Rukmini has the internal mood of Lakshmi and is complete in every respect. Because the spiritual energy of Swarup Shakti and the energetic or Shaktiman are completely free of differences or non-different, there cannot be any relationship between them as found between a subject and object of comparison. Therefore, between them there is an absence of similarity, as in the difference between an actual object and its shadow or reflection. In other words, they are non-different or one. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:60-44, Rukmini personally speaks the following words: O lotus-eyed one, although you are satisfied within yourself and thus really turn your attention toward me, please bless me with steady love for your feet. In this statement, Rukmini is removing Krishna's doubt or objection. If you say, I am personally self-satisfied, so how can I have attachment for you? In reply, I say that your vision is indifferent. In other words, though you are omnipotent, you look at me, your Swarup Shakti, and yourself as inseparable. The purport is that since the Swarup Shakti and the Shaktiman are inseparable or non-different, or they are constitutionally non-different because their only distinction is their constitutional relationship as Vishaya and Ashraya, the enjoyer and the enjoyed. Therefore, even though you are Atmaram, your attachment for me is proper. In the vision,
Prabhuji, do
yeah.
you want to take, like, because this is a really long purport, this is like pages after pages. Do you want to split it like 2 page each person? Because it's like this we are at 348 page and it goes till 366.
Oh wow.
348 to 366.
Yes,
Yeah,
this was
we
just one purport.
I can read it from here.
Yeah, maybe 2 pages at a time, I think we can read.
yeah,
You
sure.
can tell me because I don't have the book.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Like, I'll tell you. You
So
can read 2 pages, and I'll tell you.
I will start from here. Okay?
Yeah,
It is
in the
okay.
Vishnu. Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
Go for it. Yeah.
In the Vishnu Puran 1.8.15, it is stated, Nityava sa jagan mata Vishnostir anapyani yatha sarva gato Vishnus tathaivam dvijottama. O best of Brahmanas, Lord Vishnu's Swarup Shakti is the eternal mother of the universe. She is never separated from Vishnu. Just as Lord Vishnu is present everywhere, his Swarup Shakti Mahalakshmi is also present everywhere. Also in the Vishnu Puran 1.9.143, it is said, Devatva Deva Dehyam Manushyastve Cha Manushi Vishnor Dehanupapam Vai Karoti Stamanas Tanum. When the Lord appears as a demigod, she, the goddess of fortune, takes the form of demigoddess. And when he appears as a human being, she takes a human like form. Thus, she assumes a body corresponding to that accepted by Lord Vishnu in order to assist in his pastimes. In his commentary on Brahma Sutra 2.3.10, Sri Madhavacharya quotes the following verse from Bhagvat Tattva: Shakti Shaktimatos Chapi Na Vivadesh Kathana Chena अविभिन्नापि स्वेच्छादि भेदैर अपि विभीयते. There is no actual difference between the energy and the energetic, but sometimes out of his own sweet will, they appear different. The Vishnu Samhita says, Shakti Shaktimanos chapi na bhedah kashid ishyate. There is certainly no difference between the energy and the energetic. From such scriptural statements, one can understand that the energetic Vishnu and his related Swarup Shakti are non different. The external illusory energy or material nature is the subordinate shadow of the Swarup Shakti Lakshmi. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.23, Arjun speaks to Krishna as follows: You have cast away the effects of the material energy by dint of your spiritual potency or Swarup Shakti. You are always situated in the eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. Therefore, creation, maintenance, and annihilation, which are transformations of three modes of material nature, passion, goodness, and ignorance, can never attack Lord Vishnu, his related Swarup Shakti, or his opulences, such as his abode or associates, because there are no difference between their bodies and souls like there is in the living entities who are controlled by Maya and forced to enjoy the fruits of their karma. They are all transcendental beyond the jurisdiction of Maya, untouched by the modes of material nature eternally pure and spiritual. Shri Krishna Sandarbh 93 quotes Shri Madhavacharya Pada's Bhagvat Tatparya commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.1 as follows. The Tantra Bhagvat states, अग्रहणाद व्यासराज चेति कृष्ण रामादिकम तानुम पथायते भगवान ईशो मूढ़ बुद्धि व्यापक्यशेया. The scriptural statements that the Supreme Lord has accepted and given up bodies in his incarnations, such as Krishna and Ram, are mentioned simply to satisfy the mentality of foolish people. In the Varaha Puran, it is stated, Na tasya prakirta murtir mansa medo sthi संभाव न योगित्वाद ईश्वरत्वत्व सत्य रूपोश्चैतो विभु. The Supreme Lord and His Swarup Shakti do not possess material forms made of flesh, bones, and marrow. His transcendental form, however, is not the result of mystic perfections, for since He is directly the personality of Godhead, His form is eternal, infallible, and supreme. In the Mahavaraha Puran, it is stated everything related to the Supreme Lord Vishnu, beginning with his body, is everlasting and eternal, devoid of both material purity and impurity, and never born of matter. In other words, they are not material. They are objects of fully uninterrupted bliss and completely spiritual. They are all full of transcendental qualities and non different from one another. Due to possessing all qualities, they are fully devoid of superiority and inferiority in relationship with each other. There is never a difference between the body and soul of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. But when we hear statements that Lord Vishnu accepted a body, it is like an actor taking on another hand to protect his body in a drama. Although
Okay, I can take from here. Okay. Although Lord Vishnu, who is beyond material perception, appears and disappears, statements like his form of Krishna, his form of Rama are applicable to him alone because he possesses unadulterated spiritual opulences. In the Kurma Puran, it is stated, although the Supreme Lord is neither gigantic nor infinitesimal, he is completely gigantic and infinitesimal. Although the Lord appears contradictory due to possessing spiritual opulences, it is improper to attribute any type of mundane faults to the Supreme Lord. Yet, even though apparent contradictory qualities are seen through material perception, one will have to understand that they are inconceivably reconciled in Him. In the Vishnu Dharmottara, it is stated, because the Supreme Lord Purushottam possesses all opulences, all transcendental qualities are found in him. But faults cannot in any way be applied to him because he is the supreme object. Some foolish persons conclude that both qualities and faults are received from or attributed by Maya. In answer to this, it is stated that since there is no Maya or connection with Maya in the absolute truth, how then can qualities related with Maya be present? Therefore, the transcendental qualities of the Lord are not received from or attributed by Maya. They are born of his opulences. Because he is faultless, nirasta puhaka aprakrita, transcendental dissipator of illusion, he is the faultless controller. Learned scholars know him as the supreme object. The doubt raised by foolish materialists who are bewildered by Maya that Mahalakshmi, Sri Lakshmi Devi, who is the Swarup Shakti of Gaura Narayan, left her body due to being bitten by a snake like a conditioned soul, is properly cleared by Srimad Bhagavatam, the crest jewel of scriptures, and the acharyas who follow Srimad Bhagavatam in their descriptions of Krishna's disappearance. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.14.8, Yudhishthir inquires from Bhimsen as follows: Yadatmano angam akridam bhagavan utsikshati. Has the time come for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to quit his earthly pastimes? The
Hmm.
word angam in this verse means earth. In the Brahma Tark, it is stated, Yada tyagadir uchyeta prithvyadi angakalpana tada yeya nahi swangam kadachid Vishnu utsrijet. When the scriptures use words like give up in connection with the disappearance of the Lord, it refers to the earth because Lord Vishnu never gives up his own limb. Sri Madhavacharya's Bhagvat Tatparya. The word Akrid refers to the place of pastimes, or in other words, this material world. The word Anga means his own land because the earth is his body, and the other scriptural statements are evidence of this fact. Sri Vijaya Dhwaja. Otherwise, when will the Supreme Lord desire to give up his own pastimes, or in other words, give up the Anga that assists in his pastimes, or in other words, give up the drama of a human imitating the activities of a human being in the material world? Has that time arrived? Sridhar Swamipad. The word Anga refers to the mundane universal form rejected while returning to his own abode. Kram Sandarbh. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.15.34 to 36, Sri Suta Goswami speaks to the sages headed by Shaunak as follows. यया हारद भुवो भारम तम तनुम विजहाव अजः कंटाकम कंटाकेनेव द्वयम चपिष्यितु समम यथा मत्स्यादि रूपाणि धत्ते जह्या यथा नाटा भूभरा कशापितो ये न जहौ तच्चा कलेवरम यदा मुकुंदो भगवान इमं न महिम Yahovsva Tanva Shravaniya Satkatha. The Supreme Unborn, Lord Shri Krishna, caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. This action was like picking out a thorn with a thorn, though both are the same to the controller. The Supreme Lord relinquished the body which he manifested to diminish the burden of the earth. Just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation and others. When the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, left this earthly planet in his self-same form. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Should we continue or should we stop?
Yeah, let's pick up next
Stop. Yeah.
week.
Yeah. Is going to go on for another 10, 12 pages.
Yeah. You could study. It's too bad Chaitanya Raso isn't here right now
Yeah.
because this is you could study this purport over and over and over
Oh yeah.
again for a long time to really
Oh
mine
yeah.
it. There's so much
Yeah.
going on in it. How did he I wasn't here last week, but how did he like the reading? Did he find it to be enjoyable? Did he
That's what he said. He really liked it. It was like nectar, as per his words, nectar flowing. So I think he really liked it, and it was the pastime of the Lord, how he was so merciful to the Bangladesh Brahmins and Bangladesh people. So that's always really nice. And the Bangladesh people, they reciprocated. They really came out, and as you saw today. So yeah, I think he really liked it. I think so.
nice? That's
Yeah.
really nice. It'll be, yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully next week we'll both be
I
here.
hope
'Cause
so.
I won't be traveling back from work and from work training. He won't be staying late. It'll be nice when the four of us are together. But I wanted to say I really appreciated our discussion earlier and the and hearing realizations from both of you. It's as you've said, I find this reading with you. I do like the Monday readings primarily because we're reviewing Prabhupada's books, but I like this reading more.
Yes. Yes.
It's good that we have
Yes,
both. I
indeed.
know it's good for me to have both as I'm slowly getting back on track with things, but this reading is really enlivening for me, and it's been great so far. And that discussion was excellent. I mean, that's what Prabhupada wanted us to do. That's what the Acharyas want us to do, is to deliberate on Shastra and share our realizations, speak our mind on the basis of the authority, So it's really important that we do that for each other. I find
Yes.
hearing what both of you have to say is very enlivening. So I really appreciate the fact that you're able to take the time to meet with me. So
This is as you were saying, Prabhuji, this is what I really like what Guru Maharaj was saying, that this is association. This is genuine association where you are able to exchange. Uh, it's confidential. You're dealing with, by your I mean like once dealing with challenges. That's confidential. How each one of us are able to share that, and that is real association as per the nectar of instruction. I think that's the fourth shloka. So
yeah,
it's really, yes, you are right. It's very powerful and it's really very nice. It's just
yeah,
very nice for me, for us as well.
yeah, I agree. It's the Dadadi Pradigranati Guyamakyati Prachati, that verse, Bhungte
Yes.
Bojayate Shaiva, and I can't remember the rest of the Sanskrit, but revealing one's mind, inquiring confidentially, giving
Hmm.
and receiving gifts, and giving and receiving prasadam,
Prashadam.
six exchanges shared by one devotee and another. And if you think about it, prasadam just doesn't mean it means prasadam, obviously, like here's a nice plate of khichdi, but also hearing realizations is prasadam as well because it helps purify your consciousness, right?
I
So,
didn't think of that. Yeah, you're right. Actually,
you know,
Prabhuji, I did not think of that. You are right. I had a limited. Yeah.
like the three of us could watch a lot of, I mean, I do, like I said, I do watch some mundane TV shows. I mean, I
Yes.
do. I have some of that time in the evening. It's kind of like mental nonsense to like check out a little bit, but I don't, but at the same time, we could read like magazines about going on in Hollywood and we could discuss the dealings between this and that person having an affair, that person, double dealing someone else financially, and we could be totally engrossed in that, but we're making some time to come together and relish the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya according to our capacity to do so. And
Yes.
I am open to having more people come into this group, but I think it should be
Absolutely.
handled very carefully. Like Chaitanya Rasa is serious and he'll contribute. I don't necessarily want to open it to anybody in the men's group aside
Yeah.
from because they're not really like maybe
Yeah.
Vishal seems like he could be into it, but he
I
he also
think so.
seems very busy on his end. So um
Yes, actually, I'm of the same nature. Like, I mean, I'm open to it, but again, at the same time, as you said, like people who are serious about it, and I mean, they will also get a lot out of it. I mean, I think so.
oh
So,
yeah.
but yeah, if you have somebody in mind, please, I mean, yeah, let me know. I mean, more the like that's how like Chaitanya Prabhu. I'm so glad that he could join. I think he really liked it. We tried to, I mean, I was telling him that he could also read, but he didn't have the book. So he was saying that he would try to get the book, and we tried to we sent him the I think online version, but he was listening. So but he liked the yeah.
That's
So I hope
Shanta
so.
Vigraha Prabhu, I hope I didn't offend you in any way.
And in what way?
Oh
What
no, I
makes
was
you
just
think like
curious. Well, you got very
that?
quiet, so I didn't know if
No, 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 no. I was wondering about this. Why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has taken so much pain and so many pages on disappearance of Lakshmi Priya Mata.
that's a good
You
question. I
see,
think,
that is.
you're seeing the themes of the non-difference and
Yes, yes.
all
I
of
think,
that, like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I think
He
is
is.
a
It's,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. I think, Rama, it is because there is a lot of misconception about their not being. I mean, he's trying to convince their eternality and their being the matlab, it is internal potency, and there is no question of. So that is why he has taken so much pains in explaining that it is just
But
these things are divine.
it's not a simple topic. Even those sentences, like we're reading them, but like they're almost kind of confusing because it's such a, in the Krishna Samhita. At the end of the Krishna Samhita, Bhaktivinoda Thakur basically says, have explained these topics as far as the limitations of material language will. And I think it's, he's Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur for his sheer genius is also a jiva, so he has limitations too. He has his limitations are much less than our limitations, but still he's trying to translate his pure transcendental concept into language for us slow-minded fools. So it's gonna be a little bit tough to take. But the other side of it is I always meditate on this is I feel that There's a devotee named Nimai Nitai who was a president of Boston a long time ago, and he said one time that inconceivable does not mean irrational. It means it's beyond the ability of the mind to contain fully. And
Hmm.
that's another thing that Jiva Goswami he propounds in the Sandarbhas is that Krishna reserves the right to be unknowable. So like it should be confusing to us. It should challenge us. It shouldn't just be like, oh yeah, I got it easily. I mean, this is something that we
Hmm.
need to meditate on for years on end. So yeah, it should be beyond our grasp, definitely.
Yes. I
So
think
yeah,
the only thing I'll add, that was very nicely that I really like that inconceivable does not mean it's irrational. That's very true. And the only thing I'll add is I think this is always a very tricky topic, like especially, I mean, the Lord's disappearance, which we were reading, me and Dad, we were reading in the end of 11th canto,
Yes, yes, that is what I was
right?
reminded of.
That right. So that is a very tricky topic,
Same type
like
of.
the why. And then, of course, with the consort of the Lord, that is always a very tricky. Like Mother Sita being taken away by Ravan, that has been a very controversial as well as very tricky. And then the whole Agni Pariksha, the same with like the gopis. So this is, yes, as you said, Prabhuji, it's not easy and it should not be. Like it is a lot of, yeah, I think that's why we have to just take what the acharyas say. Yeah.
yeah,
Some of it we just can't understand it, the
yeah,
pastime of the Lord.
yeah. Still, we meditate on it, but yeah, the I think the sooner you can come to the realization that you're just not qualified. Yeah, well, I know I'm not. I don't know about either of you, but
No.
for myself, I'm definitely not qualified. But there are people I know my Guru Maharaj just fully realized this. So even beyond the predecessor acharyas, like for me, I have a living example of someone who has realized this. So I know that by having him there to see his living example, I know that this is possible, but it requires patience and determined effort and surrender. Ultimately you have to surrender, and it is crazy how strong our false ego is in our material attachments, because we're fully convinced. We can talk about, we can talk about this material world is Martya Loka, it's the place of death, it's full of misery and suffering, and still we're like, yes, but I will make something of myself, and I have this thing I want to do and that thing, and it's so strong. Those tendencies are
Yes,
so strong.
yes,
Even after theoretically accepting or being convinced of the
yes.
necessity of taking the bhakti, this tendency to just want to like revel in the material energy, it still tugs on us so strongly.
I think like
Absolutely.
yeah, so I'll tell you I totally agree with you. I think like so there are three things, right? The controllership, proprietorship, and enjoying. So Lord is the controller and he's the proprietor and he's the enjoyer. I think this propensity to enjoy, I think that's the hardest. I find it to be the hardest to give up. It is so like that's what you were saying, right? Like you want to enjoy the material world, even though you know it is a house of misery. Still, you want to enjoy it, and you then feel lamentation. Otherwise, if you fully accept, then you would not have lamentation. You would just turn away from the material world and only look at Krishna. Like if you
Yes.
fully are convinced that this world is house of misery and it is just full of misery, so why would you look at it? Why would you engage with it? Like you just minimize your engagement and just look at Krishna. But
Yeah, well,
you just
there's
want to enjoy it. You just want to.
sorry, I heard a loud banging.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a really wonderful saying, for two people, life is easy, the great fool and the fully realized soul. For everyone else in between, life is difficult. The
Grateful
great fool
and
life is easy because he's a great fool.
life
He
is.
just has no sense of anything, and the one who is fully realized is complete. Those of us in the middle
Ah,
struggling with this, like we know we have to let go of things, and we're not like maybe not quite ready, or we still have some, a lack of faith on some level or something. I mean, we have to take solace in the fact that we're willing to come back and try. Something has planted itself in our brains, because otherwise why would we be continuing to make the effort? Because externally taking to this process actually makes your life more difficult in some ways, because you're going completely against the tide of what society is saying to do. Like Bhakti Tirtha Swami says, we must resist the urge to become normal.
yeah. I get
So
it.
let's
The
not become
mundane,
normal.
the mundane normal. You are
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
right.
exactly. Because, if you see the results of being normal, it's not a good time. But still, like, even though we have all this, and this is why ultimately we need, and what we don't have in Boston is we need genuine sadhu sangha in the form of truly Rasic Maha Bhagavat Vaishnavas. We don't have any of those we have devotees more advanced than us, but like whenever I'm with my Guru Maharaj, I'm always like on this like transcendental thing for like a little while. I'm like, oh, I am aloof, and then I come back home and my lust, anger, and greed come rushing back to greet me.
Yes,
Like
अरे बहुत
they're
yes,
like,
बहुत
hey, here we are, and I'm like, that's
yes,
great.
yes, I know. Now,
Happy to see
now
you.
you are absolutely right, Prabhuji. I think that's why now when you said that, then it starts making sense why Srila Prabhupada and back in those days, they wanted people, they wanted devotees to live in the temple as opposed to living outside in the material world. They wanted to live in the temple, and then they were like those sadhu sangha, real sadhu sangha, you know.
Yeah.
So no, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Just by their presence and you being in with those people, as you just said with your Guru Maharaj, that's what we felt also. You are absolutely right. A lot of it just goes away.
Instantly.
It just
Yeah,
goes
I've
away.
had some I've had some very interesting experiences in the presence of my spiritual master that I can only attribute to the fact of how elevated he is. And I was just when being in his presence, you're just enveloped in the internal potency. And yeah, well, it's like Naranjana Swami, and we're fortunate because there's so many people caught up in Ritvikism. There's so many people caught up in this thing and that thing, and all you have to do is look at the presence of your Guru Maharaj, and all of those opposing arguments fall away. You may not have the ability to defeat them in an argument yourself, but just by placing all of those concepts in relation to the person Bhagavat with whom you have been able to repose yourself against, all those things just fall away immediately, and it makes it so much easier. It's just that's why we need these living advanced. This is why the Ritvik conception is not right, because it's not like Prabhupada isn't some Christ-like figure. He is Jagat Guru and he is everyone's Shiksha Guru, but we still need that contact with the living advanced Vaishnava. You can't nothing replaces that. So yeah. So anyway. All right, Prabhus,
All
as
right.
always, thank you so much. And I just
Thank
want
you.
to, I'm making a small declaration right now. I think I'm going
Yes.
to continue to like persist in my endeavors to be steady on my end. And I think going into the winter of 2027, I'm going to make plans to meet with you to go on some book distribution starting in the winter.
oh
Well,
really हरी बोल
I want to go with you. You
All right, Prabhuji.
Vyasa Dev Das Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Devigraha Prabhu. Yeah.
That would be great. That would be wonderful,
I'll
Prabhuji.
watch
I
the
would
video
love
and then
that.
you can give me some pointers and I'll come out with you.
अरे भाई
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
I
Prabhuji.
promise.
No,
So
no.
yeah, once we get into the new year, you can start bugging me. I give you that permission.
All right. Okay, Prabhuji. So this is the after this fall. So from next year, I can
Yes.
bug you.
Yes, yes.
All right.
I,
Now,
I, I
Prabhuji, it will be, yeah, yeah, I think it will be great, Prabhuji. I think people, if they meet you, I think it's just people, if they meet devotees, right, and you being so advanced, and I think it will just be great for people to just meet devotees. So I'm so glad, Prabhuji.
all
That would
right,
be
Hare
great.
Krishna.
Yes. Dad, you want to do the prayers?
हम्म
And we can conclude.
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे हरे
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
थैंक
Thank you,
यू प्रभु
Prabhuji.
जी
Thank you for
थैंक
your
यू
association.
Hare Bol.